Good day, folks. It's Walima Obadiah again from Mshindi Vita Saana, African Combat System, and owner of Mshindi Pan African Culture Arts. I am back again. I took a brief week off because, as we all know, health is wealth. Mental health, physical health, spiritual health is all very, very important. So I just took a brief week off to handle some things, but we have two more sessions. We're going to get into today's myth and fact session, which is number 7. So we have one more coming up after this one. All right, so today we're going to talk about learning a martial art or a combat self-defense system as we have. But the common myth with this one is that learning those things, a martial art, combat, or self-defense system, is only for youth and younger adults. So here are some common things that I actually hear is I'm too old, all right, I'm too out of shape, or I'll come to class once I get in shape, or once I get back in shape, then, you know. So no, all of these things are really a kind of a self-limited mindset, you know. We're kind of putting some limits on what we think is actually possible. And also, as I can imagine, there's some amount of trust that is going to be necessary to kind of start your voyage and process as an adult. You're really thinking, okay, hey, I don't want to be having to do all of these things, or, I don't want to have to be, I don't know what people are thinking, crawling on the floor during certain exercises, or, I'm going to be bending over, a lot. I'm going to have to be, doing all this cardio. Everybody has specific goals that they kind of come to class with. They also have a certain problem that they're seeking to really solve. It's my job to really listen to what your concerns, what your problems are, what your goals are, and we can develop a regiment, an arsenal, a plan around that type of thing. All right. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to have a discovery call, particularly with adults, whether they're enrolling their children or whether they're asking about class for their self. All right. But I speak about this quite frequently. And like I said, I believe it's more of a self-limiting mindset. Now, yes, you need to have some considerations in mind, like schedule, when is the best time to really start. But if you're waiting on an ideal particular time, something that is solely convenient for you and that is solely based around, like a microwave type of results, those are the people that I'm kind of concerned about. So if you're talking about, developing yourself, there are going to be some resistance to things. So when that problem really presents some resistance, then you have to figure out, well, what are the best solutions for that? Do I need to take a workshop? Do I need to come during evening classes? Do I want to do something in a small group training environment? There are a lot of different solutions that can be really proposed if we kind of really have that discussion. So that's a very short and simple one and regarding that myth. But one of the things that we also kind of express here is being combat ready. So just because you feel like everything's going to be okay, I'll use my firearm, I'm not traveling at night, I'm always home, no one ever bothers me. You may be right. You may be really good at using your firearm. No one may have never bothered you. May have never had an incident that you're concerned about. You're concerned about your wife or your husband, or your children. There have possibly never been an issue until there is. Then what? Then we kind of go into more of a reactionary mode. And one of the things that I say in my workshops is that when you particularly are controlling the situation, you're making sure that your efforts are responsive, not reactionary. So we want to have some level of preparation in case these things happen. And also, it's more than just, punching and kicking for adults. There are a lot of sessions that I'm doing that are just about life or consultations. Martial arts and any combat training, with a philosophy or as an art form attached to it, there are a lot of other things that you're learning in a part of that process. You're learning another way of life or another way to think about things. I'm not going to tell you particularly actually, what to think, but I am going to tell you how to think. and how to think about things differently. And that's very vital and important, as we can use in all areas and all facets of our life. So those are one of the things that I wanted to kind of share with you. And hopefully it gives you some things to think about. I'll close with this. And the last thing that I wanted to mention about that kind of mindset of, we're too old, or we're too, this is only for, younger folks, is that if I'm working with a parent and I'm teaching or coaching their child, one of the things that's really important is that somewhere along the process of me working with that child, I'm going to have to work with you as an adult, because I want you to know some of the things that your child has learned. I also want you to be empowered. I also want you to know some of the cultural aspects and things that I'm sharing with them. I also want you to be able to help them at home, especially if you're a homeschool parent. I want you to be able to, identify some of the things and be able to give me reports back of some of the things that they're struggling with. And if you're able to have a table of context or some kind of context about what it is that they're doing, and where you see them struggling with, of course, you can report on things about, yeah, I don't see them training at home, or those type of things. But I'm talking about more than that. I'm talking about something that is going to give you some insights into understanding and feeling some of the things that they're feeling in class, and some of the things that they're maybe struggling with, or some of the things that you may struggle with. And you can identify, okay, yes, we do need to work on our coordination, collectively as a family. This is something that I've identified, in one of your workshops. But I also want you to have, the mindset of being able to protect your household equally as they do. All right. So some of the things that I'm covering on a smaller scale for them as children or teens, but it's important to make sure that you are eventually coming around in a full kind of circle. So I can't just really work on coaching just the child. I have to work on changing the mindset and coaching the adult with some of the things that we're going to cover in our classes, as well as some of the mindset and some of those cultural things that we're going to be sharing as well. So all those components are very vital. And I hope that gave you some insight and some things to think about as an adult. You're never too, old to learn something new. We just have to think about the context and the application of how we're going to apply these things, and what learning format that we really use. That I talked earlier about some of my e-learning format. You can check my link in my bio, and some of those things are available there. And it's kind of a on-demand, session where you can look at information, you can review it at a later date. It's available for you for about like a 30-day period. And you can always follow up with some, physical training after that. Some people just want a workout design program. Some people want something that has, totally body weight exercises. Some people want to get back to being able to do, jumping rope or stairs, at a larger, capacity rate. Some people want to be able to, get their stomach flat. It's a lot of different goals that, parents really have, but also it helps you interact and engage with your child at the same capacity. And if you don't have children and you're just kind of coming into this, as a single adult, then you're working on building a better you so that you can be better for yourself later on. And those are the things that are critically important. Always, always have some level of self-improvement in your life. All right. That's about it. I'll see you for our remaining one fact and myth session coming up on next Wednesday. And that'll be our closeout to that. I kind of have something I'm going to tie a lot of our talking points in together. And I'll post all of these things up on YouTube on our channel later on, so they'll be available for you to reference, tag people, share it, etc. And if you have any questions, once again, put it down in the comment section. I look forward to interacting with some of you online a lot more. And stay sharp, and I will see you the next time.